Welcome back. I'm Coach Tiffany Taylor. I'm the CEO and founder of Elite Mind, and this is another Q&A video for you. If you want to ask another question, you're welcome to just hop over to my Instagram and fill out the form. It's, I believe, the link in my bio, and I will answer your questions here. You're also welcome to drop a comment if you see this video. Let's go ahead and get started. Do you ever work with corporate clients or high-level executives? If so, what is that process like of signing them up? This question comes from Connecting Amazing People. Thank you for the question. Yes, I have worked with a few corporate clients. However, my really true passion is in working with entrepreneurs and professionals within my own group programs. The process of signing them up is just like anyone else. I do a consultation call, whether it's a corporate client, whether it's a business, whether it's an executive. I always offer consultation calls so that I can really understand what are the wants, where are we at, what does that gap look like, can I even help you, do I want to work with you, do I know I can get you great results? And based on that consult call, we usually send out a proposal to decide if that's a good fit or not. That is the process there. What do you think makes a good and successful entrepreneur? In order to be a successful entrepreneur, I'll say there's a few, but the number one quality or trait you need to have is resourcefulness. You need to be extremely resourceful. That means having an awareness level above most people to understand who you are, who other people are, how you fit into the world, what the actual problems are in the world, and how you can solve them better than anyone else. If you're gonna run into problems as an entrepreneur, you always will. You need to be resourceful in order to reach any level of success. Now, resourcefulness can burn you out. So you also need to have tenacity. You need to have resilience. You need to have a lot of courage. And I'll say this too, you need to have non-attachment. You need to have the ability to be non-attached to the outcome and non-attached to the identity you have right now. Because the truth is, whatever your business results are right now, whatever your life results are right now, those are just a reflection of the mindset that you have right now. And so if you want another level of success, if you want those higher levels of success in life and in business, that's going to require you to step into a new identity, the next level version of you. And it comes at a cost that most people don't want to pay. And that cost is today, the life you have right now. So really the question is, are you willing to trade in the life that you have right now in order to trade up? It comes with a lot of sacrifices. The ones who are non-attached to the outcome and the ones who are non-attached to their current identity and lifestyle, those are the ones who will reach massive success. And it will be because of the sacrifices that they've decided to make. That was an excellent question. I like these. And this question is asked by someone who's anonymous. Okay. I'm feeling torn on how to mix business, mindset, and emotional coaching with my faith and relationship with God, as He is the real reason to my healing and continuous joy, regardless of the most difficult circumstances. I feel like a fraud selling coaching when really the biggest shifts for me has come from my salvation and relationship with the Lord. It's a constant battle for me, and it has a lot to do with money and knowing that my true purpose lies in Him, not in my own selfish desires, but knowing that I am meant to be a coach and to help people understand their emotions as well. I'm curious to hear, what do you have to say about this, as you have done such a beautiful job of marrying the two? Any guidance and advice is welcome. This is a beautiful question. And I'm going to tell you, I really love this question because it's highlighting where your heart is, right? A lot of times I see the idea of imposter syndrome being vilified on the internet. Imposter syndrome is always going to be there and all these things. It serves a purpose. And the purpose is to keep you in integrity with your identity and your vision and your values. So I love that this is showing up for you because it's showing where your heart is, and it's still revealing to you your purpose is still in the same place. The truth is, if you're a coach and you get someone a result, you still don't get to take full credit for that, right? You don't get to be responsible for that. As a coach and as a professional coach, I understand coaching is an unregulated industry. And when I say coaching and when I speak of coaching, I mean professional coaching, meaning you have professional skills that you've heavily invested into. Not online courses, not online certifications, not books, and definitely not life experience. Professional coaching. This means you've gone in not just for the paper of having a certification, but you've learned the skills of being a professional coach. You've practiced the skills in front of instructors who've given you live feedback on how those work. And now you are able to get tangible, predictable, consistent results using different techniques. Okay, that is what a professional does. Your question is, how do you marry the two? There's definitely space for faith-based coaches out there. There's 100% space for that. I see a lot of spiritual coaches out there. I'm seeing a lot of manifestation coaches out there. I'm seeing a lot of, they're calling it spiritual coaching, okay? And a lot of this is very opposite to what any Christian would want, right? There's a space for Christian coaches that's needed. We can, at the end of the day, we can read the Bible and we can go to church and we can be in community, and still there's going to be some scars, some things that we need to work through. And most of the time what holds people back from their relationship in faith is the relationship they have with themselves. So being a powerful coach who allows someone the opportunity to get out of their own way and to remove the scales from their eyes and facilitating that's one of the greatest gifts you can give. And it's absolutely something you would charge for because it's a professional skill. I can't imagine a therapist who studies for years offering a service for free, right? Just because they share the same faith with someone. It's a skill. And even with the skill, you don't get to take all the credit for it, right? So don't take on all that responsibility. You wouldn't want that responsibility on yourself. Your responsibility as a coach is to show up with the skills and to give someone the space to facilitate their own healing, especially when that means coming closer to God or closer to Jesus or allowing and inviting the Holy Spirit in. And you can definitely do this with coaching. So the two pieces of advice I have for this person, this anonymous person, is make sure you're investing in professional skills as a coach. I have a guide on how to do this. Anyone wants it, I have created a free guide. It's not a beautiful guide, but it's a Google Doc with all the links you need to become a really highly successful coach, down to the skills you need, down to the trainings you should take, down to the courses you should buy, down to the books I recommend you read. It has all of it inside. I will share this with you in the comments so you have it. Okay, next question is actually from the same person on the form. They did not give me their Instagram handle. Okay, next question. How to deal with spiritual eyes being fully open, seeing what is going on, even in religion and churches, and still have the faith to trust receiving help from people and sharing my faith and relationship with Christ. I still haven't found a church because I can't stand the spirit of religion, and I keep being put with people who have been really hurt by religion, and I feel like I'm being used as a vessel to restore the relationship with God. I don't know why God chose me to do this because I grew up as an atheist and saved by grace. I think that's why you were chosen to do this. But I'm here for it if that's what he keeps calling me to do. Any guidance on how to grow in courage, to speak the word, and to remove the shame of the gospel because of fear that people will misunderstand and mistake Jesus for religion? Thank you. I think this comes from a lot of having your own clarity. So I think a very powerful exercise for you is to just write out the roles. This comes from relationship coaching, but really define the roles here. What is your role? I want you to create like a table chart in a notebook. What is your role as a coach? And I want you to write that down. And then what is God's role in this, in transformation? And write that down. I see a lot of times with spiritual workers, with coaches, I see they try to take on God's role and all the responsibility that comes along with it. And it puts a weight on them that they were never meant to have. So understand that you get to take some of that weight off of you, because taking responsibility for all of this is not your role. Okay, there were a couple of questions baked in here. And still having the faith to trust receiving help from people. I'm a big believer that perception is projection. If you're perceiving the people around you have church hurt, then it might be that you also have church hurt, which is a pattern that gets to be broken. The whole New Testament was actually written to churches, not to individuals. We're meant to be in community. But when I say church, I believe church is a people. It's not a place. And I'm with you on the religion. I'm not a religious person. I'm really not a fan of the rituals and the rules that I say rules when people feel like they're being oppressed by rules. I think there's a way, I think there's a narrow road, but I don't think that oppression and condemnation needs to be a part of that. I think there's a positive way to encourage, and being in the right community will help you get there. I'd really recommend, keeping an open mind and not giving up on getting closer and finding that community, because it's out there and waiting for you. There might just be one or two more things that need to be shed before you're able to see what that community looks like and to be fully welcomed in by that community when they find you. How do I handle my perfectionism? It's blocking me from creating on social media, and I really need to be doing this for my business. Okay. Perfectionism is not an identity. It is not a personality that you need to hold on to. You were not born that way, and you are not stuck that way. Okay? If you want to let go of perfectionistic tendencies, then you need to first start by understanding that you are not perfectionism. That means in your language patterns, no longer saying, I am a perfectionist. Separating your identity from your behavior is going to be crucial. The second part is understanding that you still get to have a level of excellence and a standard of excellence without perfectionism. The difference is perfectionism is a delusion. It doesn't exist. And excellence is something that's attainable and something that is expansive. It feels good. It's something to continue growing into. Okay, so shifting your language there would be really powerful. That's my recommendation for perfectionism. And of course, I just saw your name. We have a call booked in, so we're going to be talking about that soon. This question is by Grateful Culture. Thank you for the question. The question is, what is your first limiting belief you had to overcome when starting your business? So the challenge is I did not have awareness that I knew what limiting beliefs were. I didn't have an awareness of what mine were because I was very blindsided. Looking back, I can tell you my money beliefs were the first things that had to go. What is a lot of money? What is not a lot of money? What is it okay to charge? How to even talk about myself on social media. Showing up on social media was probably the hardest part. Funny because it relates to the last question. It's probably the hardest thing for me. I remember with my first coach, one of the things we had to work on was going live on Instagram. And the reason that was such a big task for me is because I was talking my Instagram stories every day. When I would speak to my stories, those record in 15-second increments. So if I messed up a word or I didn't like a facial expression that I had, I would just delete that 15 seconds and do it over again, which means a 3-minute story might take me 45 minutes to an hour to upload. I refused to do live because I wouldn't get the chance to be a perfectionist. I wouldn't get the chance to have that perfect sentence or delete a word that I didn't like. So I'd say one of the biggest limiting beliefs I had to overcome was that I had to be perfect and that my social media has to be perfect and that it's not okay to make mistakes, okay? Or that no one would trust me if I make mistakes. Okay, next question, also from Grateful Culture. If you had to start over, what would you do first to get started in business? Ooh. If I had to start over, I would start with market research interviews first, rather than waiting a year to get into those, okay? What would I do different? I did hire a mindset coach first, and then I went to a business coach and went back to a mindset coach. It wasn't until a year later when I worked with a different business coach who made me do market research interviews. That was one of the biggest switches in my business that still to this day is paying off. One of the best investments I ever made. So if I was to do things over again, I would start with market research interviews much sooner than I did. I would prioritize them more, and I would actually do more of them than I did. I did about 50 for productivity specifically and over 200 total. If I started earlier on, I would have had more time. I would have done more of those interviews. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say market research interviews, this is the secret to expert copywriting, to expert messaging, and to high conversions. And it's something that I teach inside Elite Mind Entrepreneurs, if that's something you're now realizing you might need. Thank you for the question, Dana. Next questions. This question is from Anonymous as well. Okay. I'm a people pleaser and I'm conflict avoidant. How did you build your backbone and the confidence to confront evil and wrongdoing head on? Ooh, I love the power in that question, actually. I'm a people pleaser. First question I have for you is, when did you decide that? Who told you you're a people pleaser, and when did you decide that it was true? That's a lie that you came into an agreement with, and it's become an identity for you. So I will challenge you on the identity of people pleaser. Okay? And conflict avoidant. How did you build your backbone and the confidence to confront? Okay, there's a few questions in this. How did you build your backbone? I decided enough was enough. I think everyone has to get to a point where they decide where the line of enough is. Unfortunately for me, I waited till my back was against the wall, right? That was a situation where I had to have a backbone. I had to decide that I have authority over my life. I have authority over my opinions. I get to speak my opinions. And the only person whose opinion of me matters is mine. My opinion of me matters. My client's opinion of me matters. That's pretty much it. Okay. Or, on a spiritual perspective, I live for God. That's obvious. But in this 3D world, yeah, I stopped caring what people think about me, because the people who had negative opinions of me or were saying negative things to me, A, they weren't paying me. B, they weren't sending me clients. And C, they were putting poison and pollutants into my mind that were stopping me and preventing me from stepping forward in my purpose, which is at the end of the day, only hurting more people. So I had to put a stop to that. The confidence to confront evil and wrongdoing head on. I'm a really big fan of language patterns. Language is everything. Confronting evil and wrongdoing head on. I do believe you need to pick and choose your battles, right? I don't fight all battles that come to me. I've become a lot wiser over the years. I'm very selective on those now. I think, starting with the outcome in mind, starting with the intention of what is the outcome I want of this confrontation? What do I want to get out of this? What is the result that I want? And then challenging yourself to see the positive intention that has created the situation. So what is the positive intention that this person is acting this way or has said this thing about you? And I'll be candid, I'll be honest with you. Some things still really bother me. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of a situation that's recurring, that keeps happening, and how I usually handle it in my business. And this will probably be the last question. So one of the things that has consistently happened to me in my business from the first month I opened my doors has been copycats. Copycats, copy coaches all around. And they're copycats because they're not very creative. An example is when I started my business, I started hosting a lot of workshops. I was hosting 2 to 3 live in-person workshops a week just to learn what my messaging might be and what areas of coaching I enjoyed the most. I wanted to experience relationship coaching. I wanted to experience mindset coaching. I wanted to experience success coaching and personal development coaching and fitness coaching. I wanted to try it all out. I landed on productivity and mindset being the most important and fun for me. But what happened was I would create these events and then people would come to the event, love it so much that they were so inspired to copy it. They would create an identical or a very close reflection of the same event as me. They would use the same stock image I used to promote the event. They would post the event on the same platforms that I would promote my events at. And then they would invite the same people to their event that I had. And I laughed because, oh my gosh, this was so frustrating. This was so frustrating to me. And in the beginning, I didn't know how to handle it. So I just didn't. I just kept reinventing myself. I kept creating new events, and that put them at a disadvantage is because they had to keep waiting for me to create something new to make their next step. So joke was on them for that. Another situation that happened where I did confront it is I remember another coach who did not have professional training was in a similar networking group to me. And this person was super friendly, wanted to be friends. We were talking about becoming referral partners, how we were very complementary in our work. We don't do anything the same. We work with 2 completely different types of clients with completely different sets of pain points, and we get totally different results. This is what was told to me. And then one day I go and see that this person has now copied my entire Instagram bio, word for word, emoji for emoji. And this isn't some random person on Instagram. This is someone I was going to dinner with every week with a group of friends, right? Someone that was very close to me. And the way I handled that was I said something. I said, hey, I really respect and value our friendship. And I've noticed this situation has come up. I've noticed that you've copied my Instagram bio, and I would really appreciate it if you would change it. This person rejected my sentiment and said, no, I did not. I found the template online. To which I sent a screenshot of my profile and their profile right back to them. And I said, I would love to know where you found this template because it's taken me 700 tries of reforming and reinventing my bio to get it to this. To which this person responded and said, well, I looked at a lot of Instagram bios, but I guess yours inspired me the most. And they decided to change it. So that's an example of how I handled that situation. At the end of the day, pick and choose your battles. Don't let these things get to you. It'll take a lot of energy out of you, which won't just hurt you, but it'll hurt the people that you're trying to help. That'll be the last question I answer today. I wish you the best of luck with handling those wrongdoers in your life. If you need more specific advice, go ahead and drop another question. I will get to it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.